Hello, my friends.
Oh, I didn't see you standing there. Hello.
I like the idea of the surprise live stream of when like you're just sitting at your desk and all of a sudden you're like, oh,
I'm live.
hello
Oh,
there.
please. Let's never do that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I like the idea of that in a joking, haha, funny way,
Right.
but in reality, if I suddenly was surprised with a live stream, I wouldn't like that idea at all.
Yep.
If I was in a podcast studio and that happened, maybe I'd be okay with it. Yeah, there were a few times at Twit where we didn't know we were live and we actually were, and things were spoken. So, you know, it happens.
Hello, boys. How you doing?
Doing all right.
Good.
It's a
All right,
boys'
little-
night out at Android Faithful.
Boys.
So.
Boys.
It is quite a busy week.
Yes.
Because it seems like all the companies want to dump all the news before everyone goes off for Thanksgiving.
Totally.
It sure does seem like that, huh?
Well, Mishaal, I was just telling you this pre-stream, so sorry you're going to hear it again. But last week we got Jeff and I on AI Inside. We got contacted by a representative from Microsoft. They were like, Ignite is next week, and we can get you an interview with the guy who leads the team on Agent 365, which is a big piece of news that they're going to announce at Ignite. You can be there with the embargo. We're like, oh, that sounds awesome. Yeah. So we did that interview on Friday. All day yesterday, I'm getting all excited. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is one of those moments where I'm going to bring in all sorts of new, subscribers to the podcast and going to be right there from day one. And then the embargo is this morning at 8 a.m. And at like 7 or somewhere around there, I think is when Gemini 3 dropped.
Yeah.
And the oxygen in the technology air went all the way into Gemini, and like all the Microsoft news was just like,
What's so funny is that, like, imagine how you feel. Imagine how Microsoft feels.
Oh, I know. I apologize
like,
to them.
We're gonna do this, whatever. And then Google just comes in and just like,
totally.
Hello.
They reached back out. They were like, hey, we loved what you did with the interview. I was like, yeah, sorry that it got completely like stomped on by Gemini 3.
Did you mention that to them or?
Oh, I did. Yeah, just in joking,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, Microsoft.
Not that it's my fault or anything, but you know what I mean?
It's kind of like off topic and probably something we could save for later, but like I'm curious, like the difference, what causes the difference in how people react to Microsoft's AI versus like Google's AI? People see Microsoft's AI as like cringe.
Yeah.
That's generally what I see. People see the Microsoft AI as cringe. Google's AI is less so.
Do you think any of that has to do with like a historical like muscle memory knee-jerk reaction to like things like Clippy and the kind of like the cringy kind of like, oh, Microsoft wants to be super smart, but they've got this thing that just annoys people, and I wonder if there's
then again,
sort
people
of
kind of circled back on Clippy. They love Clippy now.
Well, they love Clippy
true.
from a campy retro kind of thing. But if Microsoft came back and like, we're bringing Clippy back, they would get so dunked on. Right, they like Clippy.
We heard you like Clippy, so we're going full Clippy.
Right,
it's no longer Copilot; it's Microsoft Clippy.
Right, like if Microsoft then tried to make Clippy happen again, they would just get so made fun of. They like Clippy as a punchline, not as an actual application. The problem with Microsoft is just that they're too old. Right? Like that's the thing, is that like nothing they do or can do is seen as exciting or edgy or innovative. They had a little heat when Nadella came on board, and they were remember when the garage, and they were doing all that kind of stuff, and there was like, what are they doing? All this stuff. But that stuff seems to have, kind of faded, and now they're just kind of just churning what they do, and they're IBM. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, remember how boring IBM was compared to Apple in the 80s? I mean, Mishaal, but like Jason, remember like when we were kids, like it was like IBM was so boring compared to Apple, right? Because IBM had been around since the 50s, and Apple was the new exciting thing. That Microsoft is IBM. So
yeah, kind of lacks that like sex. I hate using sexy and like when referring to technology, but yeah, it kind of lacks that like sexy quality. Like,
it absolutely lacks the sexy. Yeah, I remember when somebody said OS 2 was the shiz because of John said that. I remember when OS 2 Warp came out, and they were trying to make OS 2 Warp like the cool operating system compared to Windows 95, and we were like, Windows 95 was awesome, and OS 2 was just so boring, and it was just I don't know. PC Junior.
I mean, I would tend to agree with you, but I also realize that part of my wanting to agree with you there is my complete lack of like personal direct experience with Microsoft in the last 15 years, you know? And I know that that's not the case for a lot of people. A lot of people fully invested in Microsoft and actually are very excited about what Microsoft does. But I'm so outside of
Are they though?
Well, yeah, I'm sure they are.
They're people
Absolutely
invested, but who's excited? I mean, aside from Paul Thoreau, who's excited?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't walk in that circle, I guess is what I'm saying. But I'm sure they exist.
I feel like even a lot of Microsoft fans
are
not that excited by their Copilot products because, like, I'm a big Windows user. Like, I love Windows from a platform perspective, but I don't use
love it?
any. No, I do love Windows.
Just you wake up in the morning, you're like, I can't wait to get into Windows. Like,
no, I mean, like, one of the reasons why I would hesitate to switch over to an Android PC is just because of how extensively I can customize Windows to my liking, like all the custom tools and stuff I built for it.
Yeah.
I don't use any Microsoft services though. That's the big thing.
Right. I mean, Ron, do you love Mac OS? Do you love it?
No, but I
love
like
it. I mean, I don't know that we love our OSs. We use it because we're used to it, and it does these things, and there's things about it that we love. But I wouldn't say I love Mac OS. Oh my god, it's the best thing in the world. But it's what I choose to use. There was a time where
it had heat. There was when OS X came out, it definitely had heat, and it was exciting, and it was the new kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, no, I can't imagine ever going back to Windows. Somebody put me in front of I got in front of a Windows PC recently, and I was just like, I was like being dropped in the middle of Japan, and like I can't even, I couldn't even. Yeah, it's funny how that happens.
Yeah, my laptop died a couple of days ago. Like the battery was dead, and I needed to get some work done right now, and I can't remember why I didn't go to my desktop. And I remembered I have a Windows PC stashed away, and I pulled that out, and it had some battery so I could get to work. And yeah, it was kind of the same thing. It's like, wow, I use this so infrequently that even though I need to do this quick thing and here's a computer for me to do it, I still felt really slow because it's not what I'm used to, you know?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm sure there are plenty of people who are really excited about what Microsoft is up to. They exist. Of course they exist.
You smell what Microsoft is cooking. All right. Well,
anyway.
I mean, and it's funny because Google's been. I mean, Google. How old is Google now? Google's pushing 30, right? How didn't they start in the 90s?
I don't know. Is Google becoming an unk?
Yeah. Let's see. Google started in 98, so they're going to be 30 in 3 years.
In 3 years,
right? Yeah.
So is Google the 30-year-old at the nightclub that refuses to like settle down?
No, because 30 is the new 20, right? I mean, like that, like you definitely. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That's true.
That's what all the 30-year-olds tell themselves.
Yeah.
But everything pushed up a decade in the past 20 years. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we do the show? Should we talk about Android and Google?
Talk about Android. No more Windows.
I suppose.
Windows faithful. In it is a alternate universe where this is Windows faithful.
I wonder, does that exist? Windows faithful.
What are the
Let's see here.
Windows podcast?
Windows.
The only one I know is like Windows Central.
Windows Weekly.
Yeah.
Right. Which is So let's see. Top Windows podcast. Windows Weekly. Windows Central podcast.
Yep.
The Test Drivers. And Modern Workplace, which is a podcast from the Microsoft 365 blog, which I feel like doesn't count.
I bet they talk about Agent 365 on there, and if they knew about my interview with Charles Lamanna, they'd be really excited. I'm just a little hurt, okay? I really had high expectations for today, and then Gemini 3 came along and wiped its butt with it.
Wah, wah, wah.
Okay.
Don't we have the world's tiniest violin soundboard?
There is a Thanksgiving theme pack though. Jason, did you see that?
Oh, in StreamYard? Of course there is. I hadn't seen it, but now I just added it.
After we finally got rid of the
Halloween.
Oh wow. It's just so clip arty. Yeah. Like I don't know that I need clip art on my live stream. Happy
there we go. We just got a little turkey there.
Okie dokie.
Maybe for
there's
next
like-
week's episode, you can
that.
deck out the stream with Thanksgiving stuff.
Yeah. We're not there yet.
Mishaal doesn't have anything to give thanks for.
He only gives thanks the week of Thanksgiving. Definitely not a week before.
Yeah. When there's nothing dropping, when a million things aren't dropping on Monday.
Yes. He hasn't had
Oh, yeah.
time to be thankful for anything.
Yeah.
He was up until 2:30 last night working on his Gemini 3 coverage.
Literally.
Literally.
Yes.
Yeah, not even exaggerating.
That's exactly what happened, actually. Okay.
Let's rock and roll.
Should we rock and then roll? Okay. Well, let's see here. I have the wrong sheet up. Ron, you were doing the intro thing. So Mishaal, side
I will.
stage.
How you feeling, Jason, by the way? You better?
Yeah.
You were
Yeah,
sick
although
last week, yeah.
Today, God, I can't even get my week straight. Was I sick last week?
You were. It was like,
Was that the day that I swooped in, did the thing, and then got off?
Yeah, it was. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Peaced
that was
out.
like a week of feeling not good. I'm feeling much better today, but I've got a little scratchiness in my throat. But I think only because I've talked a ton today. So I'm going to not talk for the rest of the episode.
Sounds
You
good.
and Mishaal got
Me and
this.
Mishaal got it. So
Okay. I'm getting a call on WhatsApp. What the heck is that? Is that like a spam call or something? I don't know who you are. Weird. That doesn't happen to me. Okay. I'm going to remove myself. I'm going to overlay non-Thanksgiving overlays. And stand by, because here we go.
let's go. Well, hello and welcome to another edition of Android Faithful. We're thankful for you to listen to your weekly source of Android news, hardware reviews, app discussion, and just a general good all-around good time to have here in autumn, in the fall, that we're thankful to be here. I'm Ron Richards.
I'm scrambling to put up all of our weird Thanksgiving overlays. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Mishaal Rahman, and I'm not yet ready to give my thanks because Thanksgiving is until next week.
We're
Yeah.
getting ready. We're warming up for the Thanksgiving holiday here in the United States here in Android Faithful, because we're practicing being grateful and thankful for things.
Yeah, we got to get rehearsed.
It's boys' night out here at Android Faithful. Huyen is off on travels. Florence Ion was going to join us tonight, but unfortunately, it's her turn to be sick. After I was sick, and then last week, Jason, you were sick, and now Flo's got the sickness. Even though we never all get together in the same place, unless it's Google I/O or another event or Samsung Galaxy Unpacked, but somehow virtually we give each other a sickness over the internet wires.
Well, I hope I'm not next. because,
Mishaal, you're next.
I got places to be.
Thanksgiving.
We have all got places to be next week.
Oh, dude.
You're going to be bundled up under the blanket at Thanksgiving. Going,
Oh, that's the worst. Being sick on a holiday like that. No, thank you.
That'd be horrible. But I'm thankful that I'm here with you guys, my two Android faithful buddies. How's your guys' week been? You been all right?
Crazy busy.
Crazy
busy.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is going on in the world of technology this week?
Everyone wants to get everything out before Thanksgiving. That is the reason.
I thought once the OnePlus 15 got out, we were gonna like ease on into the holidays, but now it's the one last week of a crush.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like there's like a ton of like smartphone-y stuff, like hardware stuff. Although we do have a couple of hardware things to show off today, so maybe it is. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, we got a really exciting show. So there's a bunch of news coming out of Google today that we're going to talk about here in the news. Up first, Mishaal, you got a lot. I hope your throat is feeling well because you got a lot to talk about here at the top of the show. And then we're going to dive into hardware. We got we're going to look at the OnePlus 15 and give it its paces with a hands-on review. You both have the phone. Flo gave us a written review over on AndroidFaithful.com. We're going to talk about that in detail. Jason, you're going to give us a first look at a new Motorola phone, which is
Still
exciting.
in the box.
Yep.
It's in the box.
Exactly. And then we're going to hear from some of you from the audience. It's going to be a fun, good time. But let's dive right into it and get to the news. Mishaal, what kept you up late last night?
So
What keeps you
Google
up at
dropped. Yeah, what kept me up last night was Google dropping Gemini 3 on us, the latest version of its large language model. And before I talk, about my own experiences with it, just briefly, like what exactly is new in Gemini 3. So Google published a blog post on, blog.google.com, kind of highlighting the things that they introduced with it. state-of-the-art reasoning, better at coding, better at a whole bunch of different multimodal tasks. It tops all the benchmarks. A lot of stuff like AI benchmarks. It just does like the best at a lot of coding benchmarks, a lot of reasoning benchmarks. It has it's better at deep think. A whole bunch of stuff that on paper doesn't really mean much to many people because who cares about AI benchmarks? Like, how exactly does that help you in a day-to-day life? So I decided to approach it like I'm just gonna do a proper hands-on. I'm gonna put Gemini through the paces doing things that I would actually use it for. And I actually do use Gemini a lot. I use 2.5 Pro a ton. So I was really excited to get my hands on and try Gemini 3 Pro. So I published an article on Android Authority that kind of covers some of the things that I tried. And one of the first things that I was really surprised by is it's kind of like a small quality of life feature they introduced. Now Gemini can recommend follow-up questions whenever you're asking it stuff. So, for example, I wanted to try out I recently started going to the gym. I just started doing these workouts, started tracking these workouts that I'm doing, and I asked, okay, I'm not that familiar with like the proper way to optimize my gym routine. So I gave it a list of the things that I'm currently doing, and I asked, okay, are there any muscles groups that I'm missing? Is there anything I should add to my routine? And then it recommended, okay, I should add a leg press, for example, so I can hit that. I can hit my glutes. I recommend I do a back extension, ab crunch. And then at the end, it recommended, okay, would you like me to help you reorganize the order of these exercises to maximize your energy levels during the workout? So basically, like proactively recommended a follow-up question for me to ask it, something that I didn't even think to ask it in advance.
Now that's a very Mishaal, how much do you use ChatGPT? Because that's a very ChatGPT like function.
Is.
I do not use ChatGPT.
Okay, so I've used Chat. I bounce between ChatGPT and Gemini because I like to keep them both on their toes. In fact, sometimes I like to ask them the same thing to see what they give me, and then sometimes I tell Gemini what ChatGPT said and what Gemini said and put them against each other. But ChatGPT has an annoying habit of never ending the conversation because it's never done. It always follows up with these questions, and sometimes it follows up with like 3 follow-up questions, and it's like a freaking choose your own adventure book where it's like, what would you like to do next? And it does these 3 things. So this is very much Gemini catching up with OpenAI in that regard. So
I guess so. I mean, you could just ignore them. That's what I've been doing. I've been ignoring.
Oh yeah, you can ignore all
questions
the time.
whenever I don't.
Yeah. Oh, I tell ChatGPT to shut up all the time. I'm abusive to ChatGPT. So I'm like, stop. You're annoying.
The problem is it often poses a question. You didn't even know you wanted the answer to that question until you read it. You're like, oh, well, yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, yes. And then at the end of that one, it's another one. It's like, oh, I didn't think about that, but yeah, of course. And you could do that forever.
So some of the other things that I tried with Gemini is just like seeing if I could create some simple utility, useful Android apps with it. So Jason, you have the OnePlus 15. Did you know that there's a feature called motion cues on it? Like basically a clone of the iOS 18 motion cues feature where it like shows these dots on screen to help reduce motion sickness while you're in a car.
I did not.
So this feature,
Rahman.
yeah, it's new to the OnePlus 15, but to enable it, you have to go to settings, then accessibility and convenience, and then motion cues. And then you have to toggle it there. And then after you turn it on, you have to go to that same page to turn it off. So I was kind of wondering, like, why the heck didn't they just add a shortcut in quick settings to toggle this? So I decided, why don't I just ask Gemini to make a simple app that can do that for me? So I did have to do a little bit of background research to figure out if it was even possible to do this, like figure out how to programmatically control motion cues on the OnePlus 15. But after I figured that out, I gave it that information. And I told it, create an Android application that implements a quick settings tile that allows me to toggle this feature. And it basically did it in a single prompt. And all I had to do was like there were some minor issues that I had to correct on my own, but it was like 95% of the way there, which is a single prompt. It created this application that I now have installed on my phone, and it does indeed toggle the motion cues feature. Like I think I can probably even show you like this setting that I implemented. It does not exist on. So you can see motion cues, right? This toggle does not exist in Oxygen OS stock. I had to make it myself. So
that's pretty
I just
cool.
Toggle it.
Very cool.
And like, see, toggle the feature. It's on.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at you! You're an Android developer.
Did you sideload that?
Yes, technically, I sideloaded it because it's an app I made. Yeah.
Are you a registered developer there?
Yeah.
Mishaal,
Did you pay the
No,
fee?
not yet.
Okay.
But yeah,
That's cool.
Yeah, there's other use cases. Like I also created another application that tested that new Android 17 color picker feature that I talked about a while ago. I also had it transform some complex presentations into some complex documents into PowerPoint presentations. I also asked Gemini to analyze some complex charts. So like I gave it some charts that I had previously made for an article and asked it to analyze the implications of the charts or answer some questions based off of it. And also like threw some logic puzzles at it. So I went to like Reddit's They Did the Math community, which is like a forum for math nerds to answer hypothetical questions involving math and physics. And I basically tasked Gemini to answer the same questions, but without the wisdom of the crowd. So basically seeing like, can Gemini come up with the same answer that a bunch of people on Reddit agree is the correct answer to this hypothetical problem? And it did a pretty good job.
That's smart, Mishaal.
Cool.
That's a really good test. I like that a lot.
Nice.
So overall,
I'm going to credit you on that one. That's good.
So overall, my impressions of Gemini 3, like, it's not a generational leap over 2.5 Pro. Like, you're not going to see, oh wow, this is like leaps and bounds better than 2.5 Pro or even any other model. But 2.5 Pro was already amazing. It was already really good at almost anything that it did. So the fact that it's just a better version of it in almost every way, I think it's just good enough. I think it's just showing that we've reached a point where AI models have become really mature, and there is still room to improve, and there's still room to progress. And even with Gemini 3, I noticed there were several issues I noticed with some of the output that it gave me. But still, even with some of the issues that I noticed with the slideshows that it made me, for example, I'm like, I'll still use this in the future because it saves me a lot of time from having to create a PowerPoint presentation from scratch, from having to create these data from bar charts from nothing. It saves me so much time by creating something that I can use as a starting point for my own work.
Yep. Very cool.
Yeah. Love your approach. I love it.
I'm excited to play with it. I recently used Gemini to help me and a friend of the show, Tom Merritt, realign our fantasy baseball league. Because what we had a fantasy baseball league of 15 teams, and we had 5 years of data and like winning percentages and like head-to-head stuff and all this sort of stuff, and we wanted to make it more competitive because the same people were winning every year, and so we dumped all the data in and ran a bunch of analysis and all this sort of stuff, and it was a really, really interesting exercise. And Gemini was really, and actually it was one of those scenarios where I pit ChatGPT versus Gemini, and Gemini actually won in terms of that battle, in terms of giving us a better output, and like what ended up being the better end results. And I even shared, I'm like, hey, ChatGPT, this is what Gemini said. And it's like, actually, that's a better solution. You should go with that. And it was like,
wow.
So I'm curious. I would like to. I probably want, when I get my hands on Gemini 3, I probably would want to take the same problem and see what the results would be from there. So,
yeah, I've been waiting all day for it, and it looks like a course, right?
Oh, I just got it. I literally just got it. Yeah. Gemini 3 Pro is here. Yep.
3 Pro. There you go.
Try it.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Good work, Mishaal.
It's also available in AI mode too through Google Search.
Yes.
If you want to do it there.
Yes.
Cool.
Now, why you use one versus the other when they do very similar things, that's a question for you to figure out on your own. I'm still a little confused at that.
Yeah.
Although I do use AI mode. I drop into it from time to time if I'm already in search and everything. So, anywho, let's talk about sideloading, because you mentioned it as something that we might possibly talk about. And
like Beetlejuice, you say sideloading 3 times, you got to start talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, you all complained, and Google may have heard you, because Google seems to be responding to criticism from users who were not happy about the fact that they had made some changes recently that we have definitely talked about on the show related to sideloading unverified apps and the steps and that you got to go through, the hoops you got to jump through in order to do that. And I think one of the only solutions that people were finding is that you had to ADB that sucker onto there, which, is a long ways to go versus what we used to have. Google is now, supposedly anyways, they have said that they are developing an advanced flow so experienced users can override that strict installation rule thing that they had going on, but only after first acknowledging that those risks do exist. So it's designed for users, they say, quote, with a higher risk tolerance. And so they're going to allow users to basically say, you know what, I get it. You want to protect people. I'm okay. I'm going to be fine. Let me just do this anyways. And they're going to let you do that. Kind of just reminds me of what we had before to a certain degree, which was they'd put up a little warning and they say, "Oh, are you sure you want to put on that?" You know?
Well, I mean, maybe the difference is maybe they're going to copy what Xiaomi does. So, like, if you want to grant an app the permission to sideload other applications on a Xiaomi device, you don't just have to like click that one button in settings like you do on every other Android device. You get this pop up that lasts 10 seconds long, and you can't skip it. And it's a full screen pop up listing all the potential dangers of sideloading a malicious application. And you have to click acknowledge, and then you have to wait 10 seconds for the timer to expire. Then click OK. And then once you click on granting an app the ability to sideload, you have to do another pop up.
This is every single time?
Every time you want to grant an app initially the permission to sideload other applications.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a very intrusive pop up. And maybe they're going to do something like that system wide on Android, saying like, if you want to sideload an application that hasn't been verified, you better be doubly sure that you're sideloading a safe application.
Because they want to remove themselves from, the equation as far as like, well, okay, if there is a risk here, you're the one choosing the risk. Just because we allowed you to do it doesn't mean we are liable. I don't know. I wonder if that does kind of remove them from liability in that relationship. Were they ever liable?
They were never strictly liable.
Yeah.
So it's more of a responsibility.
It's more just like a protecting you. We're protecting you. Yeah. Huh. Okay. Well, okay. So does this satisfy then those users that have been complaining? I mean, it seems like it would.
I don't think it satisfies a lot of them because a lot of them would like to return to the status quo, which is basically no restriction. Mm-hmm. But I think as long as it's not too difficult.
Yep. They want to go back to smooth sailing status quo, right?
Yeah.
With nothing getting in the way, right?
Right. But I mean, yeah, that's the desire to go back there. I mean, with this in place, though, there really is nothing. They just have to say like, it's cool, I got this, and then they're smooth sailing, right? So
hopefully, theoretically, like Google hasn't really exactly published any details of how exactly this new advanced flow will work.
Yeah.
I mean, who knew that we would spend how many weeks now talking about sideloading? Right? Like it's become such a hot button topic. And the question is what I wonder is how many people are actually truly affected by this. You know what I mean? And not
When's the last time we sideloaded? Yeah,
not to denigrate the people who are, but I really do believe that it is a vocal minority. Right, like it is.
Definitely.
Oh, right, for sure it is.
Yeah.
But they're a very vocal minority.
Yeah,
like the kind of people who comment about Android at all online.
Right.
A lot of them are very incensed by it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So. Well, I mean, it is a big reversal over how Android has always operated, and kind of like the underlying layer, the ethos of Android from the beginning. That kind of open. It really seems to go counter to that. So it's not just, oh, I liked that feature. It's like, oh, wait a minute. This is the thing that makes Android, or at least one of the big things. So, yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, part of all that conversation has to deal with the fallout of the Google Epic's lawsuit and the third-party app stores and all that sort of stuff, and kind of an interesting I guess a transverse journey that we took there by result of that has to do with the new Valve Steam Frame VR headset device, which I don't know if you guys have seen or not or play. I've gotten a chance to look into this as much, but so the Steam Frame is their new VR headset that is actually running on a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which is essentially the same chip found in many Android phones, including the Samsung Galaxy S24. So what does that mean? It means that Android apps can run on this VR headset, and therefore Valve is encouraging developers to inviting developers to publish Android APKs directly onto Steam to run onto this headset. And now the fact that they could potentially support a third-party app store, Android apps might appear in Steam, right? Which opens up a whole audience to a world of Android apps of people, from Steam Deck and that have already, that have already been interacting with games and things like that. It's funny how kind of like a confluence of events led to this. The fact that this device using this particular chipset enabled the ability to run Android apps happens at the same time as the third-party app store litigation is happening. Now we kind of have this crossroads where now essentially Valve can take advantage and have Android apps available on Steam, which I think is fascinating. So this story is actually submitted by some listeners, and so we want to make sure we talked about it. How long do you think before Steam is filled with Android games? How long before the lines are totally blurred and it is truly, as what the vision of what Epic has been fighting Google for, right? Like, is this just kind of like a funny kind of, oh, well, you can do that, but nobody's really going to do it.
I mean, I don't think people are going to treat Steam as like an Android game storefront. Like, clearly this is intended to just boost the available number of VR games for the new Steam frame, because it's a new product, completely new chip architecture. It's like their first ARM-based device, whereas the Steam Machine and the Steam Deck are x86.
Yep.
So, they have the ability to more efficiently run Android games on it, so they can. So they're telling developers, oh, bring your games to Steam. You can run them on the Steam frame.
Mm-hmm. I guess the question is how many developers will take advantage of it, right? And then essentially how many more future devices will be on the ARM platform, right? If knowing that opens the door to those kind of already made applications, and it's that less of an obstacle and could open the door to more developers, why wouldn't the future Steam Deck be on an ARM platform and open up the door to Android apps, right?
I mean, I think the reason why this has potential is because, if you remember, the Meta Quest runs Android, AOSP. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the games are already built they already work on Android. They might have to change a few things, change some of the libraries used, but it should generally be easier to port a game from the Meta Quest to the Steam frame, because, the Steam game can run Android apps, albeit for virtualization, I think, because it's not going to be running natively on the Steam frame. Right. I think the Steam frame still runs SteamOS, still Linux-based, but it's probably going to use Waydroid, I think, to run Android apps.
Right. Well, either way, it's interesting. I thought it was just an interesting little crossroads of things happening, and that's a good point about the MetaQuest. I forgot about that. That is a connection as well.
And Android XR, of course.
Yeah.
Now that Android XR is becoming a thing.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Indeed.
Everybody's got a headset now.
Yeah. Now is anyone buying them?
That's the other question.
That's the other question. Did we ever get any sales, like any early sales indication of the Galaxy XR? Have we heard anything? I don't think we have.
That's a good question.
Super
I haven't
curious.
Seen anything.
We
they
probably
haven't released
won't.
anything as of yet.
We probably
It's
won't
too
until
early,
after the
right?
holidays or something. Yeah.
The official sales numbers have not been released. Forecasts say they plan to sell 100,000 units in 2025, but nothing's been released as of yet. So just forecast at this point. We probably won't hear until Q1 26.
Yeah, probably not. Very curious though.
But the Galaxy XR controller sold out immediately. So if that's an indicator.
Okay.
I mean, it could also be an indicator they just didn't make very many of them.
Yeah.
That's true. Good point.
Yep. All right. Well, so Android 17, what's the latest, Mishaal?
Well, actually, the first bit of news I want to talk about is actually very related to the sideloading stuff, and it's the registered App Store feature that is coming about as a result of the Epic v Google trial. So it's kind of like a correlate to Google clamping down on sideloading and opening up a way for people to sideload apps from unverified developers. Part of the reason why third parties like Epic have been so angry at Google is because, they do want a way to protect. Like, they do acknowledge that Google should have the right to implement features to protect users from maliciously sideloaded applications. But they also don't want all sideloaded applications to be treated the same way, because if you're a legitimate third-party app store vendor, then you should be given the same access and rights as the Google Play Store. And in accordance with the outcome of the proposed settlement between Epic and Google that we talked about last week, Google is working on a new registered app store framework for Android 17 that will allow certified app stores to be installed and granted the ability to install other applications basically in a single click. And when we talked about this last week, we didn't really have any screenshots of what this new registered app store flow would actually look like. But in a document that was published late last week, we got our first glimpse at a potential mock-up of this new feature. So
where do I look at this? I feel like it's not in the rundown. Are we missing it in the rundown?
Oh, did I completely miss?
Is it on one of yours?
It was one of the. Okay, yeah, it was on Android Authority. It's the registered app stores. Let me just link it.
Oh,
quick.
Okay. Yeah. Keep talking about it. I'll find it.
So yeah, basically this mock-up will allow you to
got it.
Install a single application, a single app store by clicking download on the web stores on the website's download page, and then you'll see information about the app store, and then you can just click install, and then once you do, the app store will be granted permission to install other applications. Versus right now, for example, if you try to install the Epic Game Store, you got to go to the Epic Game Store website, click download, acknowledge like the scary permission from Chrome to download it, go to settings, grant Chrome the permission to sideload applications, sideload the Epic Game Store, open the Epic Game Store, grant Epic Game Store the permission to sideload other applications, then you can sideload applications. So it's like 10 steps involved. You know, the steps aren't very difficult to do, but still a lot of steps. Versus this new unified permission flow is basically like a single click, and you can download Epic Game Store, for example, and grant it permission to install other applications. So it'll be much, much improved, much simpler to follow in Android 17. And who knows, maybe Valve will use the same thing. Maybe Steam will become a registered app store on Android 17, and you'll be able to install Android games through Steam, just like this.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. It's definitely interesting that they are accounting for it as quickly in Android 17, right? I mean, and this also speaks to the quicker cycle of the OS updates, right? Like that, you know, they've sped up the opportunity for features and stuff to roll out. Like this is a direct result of what we've seen that's happened this fall. So it's kind of fascinating to see it happen so quickly. So,
I mean, for this one, it's not like Google's on their own timetable. They're basically given, like, the court's not going to wait forever for them to implement to abide by the terms of the settlement. So
right, but they're able to get it into 17 because of this sped up kind of timeline of the operating system. So yeah.
And quickly, some of the other features that might be coming in Android 17 this weekend. I published an article basically covering some of the potential gaming related changes coming in Android 17. Google might be working on a feature to allow you to natively remap buttons on your game controller, which is a feature that people have been asking for ages. And they might also be working on a virtual gamepad feature that allow you to that might allow you to basically have like virtual touch inputs that would map to button presses on a controller. So for example, if you're playing a controller only game, then you could tap buttons and it would send those inputs to the game. So these are two features that would greatly improve game compatibility on Android. And if you want to find out more about how they work, you can read the newsletter piece that I posted on the weekend. And the other feature in Android 17 that Google might be working on is a contacts picker that will allow you to selectively give apps access to one or more contacts instead of your entire contacts list, which, as you know, is currently kind of like a privacy nightmare because your contacts has so much sensitive information about everyone you know. So you don't want to be giving apps access to your entire contacts willy-nilly. So this new contact picker list might be a more privacy-preserving way to selectively grant access to your contacts, kind of like how the photo picker does right now for photos, and kind of like how iOS recently implemented in iOS 18, I believe they implemented a similar kind of feature.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
I swear, every time I go into, I can't remember if it's Instagram or Facebook, it asks me like, do you want to share your contacts now? I'm like, no, I continue to not want to do that. Stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
It's a treasure trove of personal data. So it's no wonder they keep asking for it.
it's funny because I remember, not that long ago, like maybe a decade, let's just say with the emergence of social media and kind of, being on the internet while that first happened, especially in the early days and when they started to do this sort of thing, I remember not batting an eye about it. I was like, well, heck yeah, that's an easier way than me searching people. Heck yeah, I'll share it. And, you just didn't know what you didn't know at that stage. I mean, sure, some people were probably like, don't do that, you idiot. But it was easier, and why wouldn't I want everybody that I know to be able to find me too? So, it was like collecting followers, essentially, like trading cards. And then over the years, it's like, wait a minute, that's not actually what I want.
The rush to get to get people
Get
following
those numbers
you.
up.
You wanted people to be able to contact you. Now, the first thing I do in any of these apps is like make me hidden, like that sort of thing.
Yeah. So. I will tell you when I want to check you, no notifications.
I
will reach out to the people I want to reach out to.
Exactly.
Don't suggest. Yeah.
What a world.
What a world. What a world. All right. Good stuff. I don't know how you do all of the reporting that you do because you are a busy man. Busy fella. But you do great
Always
work.
impressive.
Very impressive. You know who else is impressive? I am impressed every single day, night, and hour and minute by our patrons. Patreon.com/AndroidFaithful. Y'all impress me because you like this show so much that you support us on Patreon. And what can I say? That's just amazing. Thank you for doing that. We try to make it, exciting for you by giving you some perks and stuff. One of those perks is, of course, voting for your favorite story of 3. We give you the option of 3 different stories, and you collectively tell us which story you want us to talk about in this show and which 2 stories you want us to hold off for after hours, which we will talk about those later for patrons of a certain tier. Before we get there, though, we like to post on our Patreon the poll with an image attached that anybody can submit to us. Contact@androidfaithful.com if you want to send something in. This time around, it's a bunch of androids, definitely generated by AI as they usually are.
No, I was saying I'm kind of bummed Wynn's not here. This is our first non-AI generated bit of artwork. We'll give listener Alex credit. He sent that in. He said he was bored waiting to pick his kids up from gymnastics, and did not use AI in the creation of that. So
good work.
Yep. So
that's
What does it
amazing.
say at the top?
Human intelligence.
Human intelligence, yeah.
Well, and that was kind of why I thought it was, because I didn't realize it was human intelligence until you were just talking there. Beforehand, I was like, oh, wow, it got that wrong.
He said, I would like to submit a non-AI bug droid image for your weekly Patreon news survey. Just a bit of fun I had fighting boredom on my phone, waiting to pick up the kids from gym practice. So,
I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it looks good.
I do appreciate the Android bug droid on the far right with pinball flippers as his arms.
That's what I was just gonna say.
I appreciate that, Alex.
And Mishaal's holding his plushie.
Yep.
And
is that all of us?
Yes, and Wynn has her eye paint thing from her randomly typing page.
Yeah,
and I'm
very tall. In the middle,
I'm really tall.
You look at in stilts.
And Flo is saying, "Oh," as in, "Oh, that Flo." Yeah.
I totally didn't realize it was all of us. That's awesome. That's even better now. That's so cool. And so audio listeners, if you go to patreon.com/AndroidFaithful, you can see this image. You don't need to be a paying patron. It's out in the open. It's on a pub. It's it's unlocked so you can see the image.
Yeah.
And I encourage everyone to check it out because I did not realize it was all 4 of us. And Alex, that's even better. Thank you. I loaded this up. I worked with it. I didn't even realize it was all 4 of us.
We discovered this together because I didn't when I first saw it either. But as we were talking through it, I was like, well, wait a minute. That's the flash. Oh, wait a minute. That's Wynn's face paint. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah.
Very
so
cool.
there we go. There we are in Android bug droid form.
See, AI can't do that.
No, it would get something wrong, really wrong.
Alex, write in though and tell us what's going on with the letters up there. What were you thinking? Is that like a statement on AI making fun of how it gets that wrong, or
that's kind of what I'm thinking? If so, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because it's close enough that you can read it, but not quite. You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyways, great work. We need more non-AI. I appreciate whatever we get, but I'm curious to see what y'all come up with that isn't AI driven. Yep. And I'm sure there's definitely a section of our audience that is like, Thank you. Human
Yes.
creativity. There we go.
I know
All right.
Win would appreciate it. So if she was in the chat, I'm sure she'd be celebrating. I'll make sure she sees it. So
That's awesome. All right. So you voted for one story that you really wanted us to talk about. You did not want us to talk about now, anyways. Samsung reportedly scrapped its original Galaxy S26 plans after the iPhone 17's launch. I think the word iPhone in there probably tanked its success. 9% of the votes. Second place at 35% of the votes. Smartphone batteries could jump to 9,000 milliamp hours in 2026, thanks to Vivo. Could happen. We'll talk about that in after hours. But the one we're going to talk about right now, facial authentication on Android, is about to get much better, according to Android Central, which looked at a company called MetaLens, MetaLens Polar ID, apparently a technology that is going to supercharge face unlock technology that we currently have in phones, and it's entering mass production right now. So there's indications that we might actually start to see this technology on Android devices in the future. It's also a partnership with UMC and Qualcomm, so wider compatibility. It was demonstrated on a Snapdragon reference device, and it's polarization. So it's not just using the camera to take a picture, capture an image or whatever, but it's actually doing a lot more than that. I don't know how it compares to Apple's system, because it does this thing with like projection dots.
So
right?
I actually saw this at Mobile World Congress. Like I saw a demo of it, talked to the founder there, and it doesn't use any new hardware. From what I remember, it uses like only your existing camera. It does not use like the same 3D facial recognition technology as like the iPhone does. Which I think is what would make it easier to actually implement. Like it will allow you to fit in with your existing notch, basically your existing hole punch camera. You just have to like have like you get a special lens to allow for it.
Cool.
And it says like an IR illuminator, but you wouldn't have to have all the same hardware that you do on an iPhone, for example.
Yeah, just a huge island up there filled.
I'm trying
with
to find the video that I
sensors
made of it. I recorded a video. I don't know if I still have it.
I just find it fascinating how facial ID, I feel like, is the thing that everyone is, at least on the Android side, that we're always chasing, right? This dream of face unlock. Like it's back. It's great, and like no, it's not great, and no, it's gonna be better. And then
it's just a low friction way to get in your phone. But the problem is that it's often also been pretty low security. Like it's been low tech.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this, but this is a photo of a slide that I saw at the presentation. And I also have like a demo video.
Oh, I get it now.
You can look at it. You can see there's the existing Face ID solution is on the right. You have like the light illuminator and also the sensor versus like there's like an integrated with like the camera.
Yeah, like I've got a freeze frame in the video.
They also
in the
did
article.
like
It's kind of similar.
You got a video there.
There it is right there. Yep. So.
Yeah. Very cool though. I mean, you know what I mean? Like a fingerprint sensor, you still got it. Your fingers got to be in the right place, but we're always looking at our phone when we want to use it for the most part. And so if we can get that system to a point to where it does facial recognition consistently, well, and securely, then you don't need to use your fingers. That's pretty sweet.
I would just love to have more devices with face unlock on par with Pixels, where you can actually use it for unlocking applications.
Yes,
because like one of the most annoying things about I didn't mention this before when I like kind of reviewed the Xiaomi Pad Mini, is that its face unlock is pretty insecure. So every 24 hours you have to enter your password to unlock the device. Because it's not secure enough for it to be considered a stronger form of authentication. So you can't use it for unlocking applications, and it requires you to fall back to your main PIN, password, or pattern every 24 hours.
No good.
But that's the case with most tablets and most Android phones outside of Pixels. Like you can't use face unlock for unlocking applications.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a big step on the Pixel, and it is nice.
Call me crazy. I just have no interest in face unlock at all. Like I'm fine with fingerprint. Like in fact, I prefer it almost. I don't know why. Like I'm like, when am I not using my, like Jason, you're like, it'd be great to have it to where you don't have to use your fingers, but like, when are you not using your fingers?
But I mean,
It'd be useful on a tablet, I would say.
Yeah, possibly. I
Yeah,
can see that.
yeah.
Yeah. More so than the phone. Right.
I mean, your fingers are there, but you still, not that it's a big deal because we've gotten so used to having to use our fingers to get into it. But I still had to go through the cognitive load of pick up the phone, move my finger to the right place. Did I get it on the right thing? Oh, I have to tap it again.
Right.
Versus like, I'm always looking at my phone. And so if I hold it up, boop, I'm in, but
Right.
yeah, everybody's going to have a different preference on that for sure.
Yeah.
I don't even know that I'm like 100% face unlock team. I could see why it's beneficial. And OnePlus, I always felt like had some pretty quick responsive face unlock, but it wasn't super secure. But the responsiveness of it always made me go, man, I wish I had this and it was really secure. And that's where I think maybe we're getting. And so that'd be nice. I'll take it.
All right.
So there you go. We talked about it. Why? Because you wanted us to. So thank you for voting for that. Also, huge thank you to Jerry Mauser and Jeremy John C. Montano, two of our amazing patrons. Thank you so much for your support each and every month. We couldn't do this show without you. Patreon.com/AndroidFaithful. That's that.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Take a break. Come back. Do some hardware.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let's do that. So here's a pause, and we'll be back on the other side of it. All right, Florence Ion, tell us what you thought of the OnePlus 15.
I mean, I'm bummed that Flo isn't here this week because I really was looking forward to roasting her for dropping the OnePlus 15 during her review window. And in her defense, I mean, she told us the story. She was standing on a balcony using it to take photos and dropped it. And then if you go to androidfaithful.com and see her review, she integrated the drop into the review very nicely. And you can see photos of the corner that cracked on it. And the phone continued to work despite that. But it is, have you guys ever seen somebody who dropped the phone during the review period?
Oh, I've definitely, I have. Yeah, for sure. I can't remember what it is, but I know I've done it.
Yeah.
I know I've done it during a review, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Yep.
To then, especially, because like peeling the curtain back, a lot of people, when they get a device, the first thing they do is they take all their beauty shots just in case, you know what I mean? Exactly. Just so you have them all. And I never do that. And so I'm always running a risk. And yeah.
Oh, no, that happened to me while I was taking beauty shots of a phone.
Oh, shoot.
An Asus Zenfone, I think the 11 Ultra. I was like almost done taking beauty shots. And then it fell on its back and the glass back cracked. It was like a spider crack, and then it just like instantly spread everywhere. It was awful.
Man.
Ouch.
Well,
but luckily, I had finished taking my shots by then. But still, yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least there's that. But yeah, it sucks. It sucks when that happens. She had even, hit us up on Discord, and I'm like, hey, I've got it as well. I'll take photos. And then I completely forgot to take the photos of the device and send them to her. So I felt really bad when I saw the article published. I was like, oh no, I was supposed to send her my pictures and I forgot. But I'm happy that I'm happy that it worked out this way, because I appreciated her article because it's a little different, right? Like it kind of leans into the fact that, like, you know what? Accidents do happen to phones, and it actually survived the accident, considering that it fell off of a balcony. I think did all right. I've seen phones get a lot more damage and destruction than that.
Yeah.
Not bad.
All right. So what was Flo's verdict on the OnePlus 15, and then how does that compare to your guys' experience with it?
Well,
so she gave it 4 hearts out of 5.
She gave 4 out of 5. She says durability at the top, which of course that was a big part of her her review. The battery, which everybody's flipping out over the battery. It's a 7,000 milliamp hour battery.
7,300.
Oh, sorry, 7,300. Thank you. Says an all around solid smartphone. I feel like OnePlus's premium devices are usually pretty good all around solid smartphones. She says it's too bad that the alert slider is no longer there. The smaller camera sensors, this is the first generation in a very long time without the Hasselblad partnership. Now, my understanding of Hasselblad is that has to do with color tuning more than anything. Is that right, Mishaal? It's like a color.
I mean, they also have the
thing?
branding too, like Hasselblad branding all over, and there's like
Yes.
Hasselblad camera modes in the camera app. Like I think those are all gone.
Does the branding take better photos, Michelle, or it's the
I mean,
lenses,
then maybe
right?
it was probably the lenses and also like the color science. Maybe.
Yeah, the color science. That's what I've kind of heard. I mean, my experience with the cameras has been they're as usual with OnePlus cameras, even with Hasselblad, but here with their own system, which I'm suddenly having a hard time remembering what they call
Detail Max.
it. There you go, Detail Max. I mean, the images are fine. I wouldn't say that they're as bulletproof as something, like a Pixel or like a Samsung Galaxy Ultra. But I mean, yeah, you're going to get great photos here. I think there's a consistency in my experience. There's definitely a consistency experience where, like I was at my daughter's soccer game, and I didn't pull this in an album. I apologize, but I was at her soccer game and I was using the telephoto lens to get some extension out onto the field. And I took 3 photos, bam, bam, bam. And just one of them very randomly, like it's like a lot darker, and it's just, there's something weird and wonky with so there's a consistency that I know isn't just, something that I noticed. I know that other people who have reviewed this phone said, you can get good quality shots out of the cameras on this, but it's not as consistent as you might hope for.
Yeah. I mean, my overall impressions, like, yes, it's a very solid all-around phone. There's no real significant issue with it. The battery's phenomenal. The best battery in a phone I've used.
Yeah.
It's genuinely like a 2-day battery life phone. So like I've really enjoyed it from that aspect. I only charge every other day now.
That's kind of becoming OnePlus's story right now.
Like especially with a watch, changing how I use a watch, changing how I use a phone.
I mean, Mishaal, that's what we talked about a couple of weeks ago when we were speculating about the phone. Is that could this be usher in the era of the 2-day phone charge? And after having it, it's a reality for you with this phone.
It gets you closer. Yes.
I mean, that's solid. That if that is the case, and by the way, if you tune in for the paying patrons, and if you want to become a patron over at patreon.com/AndroidFaithful, one of the losing patron pick stories was about smartphone batteries jumping to 9,000 milliamp batteries in 2026. So like, we'll talk more about batteries in the after hours show, but like if we're edging towards a new chapter in battery life in phones, I mean, that's something, Jason, I feel like for 10 years we've been talking about how we've been up against the physics of how they make batteries, right? Not the physics, but the chemistry of how they make batteries, right?
I think I think the issue more has been that every single time we've seen an improvement in battery capacity, it's always also been negated or offset by a faster processor, a brighter screen, a higher refresh rate screen. So like,
that's a good point.
The batteries in phones, even like your Galaxy S25, for example, is bigger than what we had in the past. But you also have much faster and power hungry components that kind of negate those gains in capacity. But now we've gotten such like this huge leap in capacity that it's kind of offset. It's overcome those the other components that have gotten more power hungry.
Yeah. Well, and when you're talking about this phone, right, like the display was a 2K display. Now it's a 1.5K display. And so in some ways, they've kind of trimmed some of these things. I know some people were like upset with that. It doesn't bother me at all. I think the display looks fantastic, although mine
I think
really
in a vacuum, it's fine. Like the display is fine. The cameras are fine. The battery life, obviously phenomenal. Software's, as usual, pretty good. Performance is very good, as usual.
Yes.
I think it's a problem.
It's really fast.
We have expectations from the OnePlus 13, which launched earlier this year, and that was pretty much like a flawless phone. I think everyone said, like, wow, this could be a contender for the best phone of 2025, and it launched in January. Right. I don't think there was like a single negative thing I could really say about it. It was just that good.
Yeah.
But then you have the OnePlus 15, which you expect is the successor phone. It would basically incrementally improve on everything, but it actually downgraded in some areas. So people are kind of disappointed because you can't really consider this phone in a vacuum because the OnePlus 13 is still available. You can still buy it. And it's not like it's a significantly worse phone than the 15. In fact, it's better than it in some ways. So I think that's why people are kind of disappointed. They expected the OnePlus 13, but better. But this kind of feels more like a side grade.
It has kind of some trade-offs. Yeah. No, that's a good point. You're right. I like the camera design. I think it's eye-catching. I like it. I know some people.
And it doesn't
compare
wobble.
to
Doesn't
iPhone,
wobble on the
blah, blah,
table.
blah. Well, that's I mean, it does depending on where you hit.
Test,
But
right?
one thing I will tell you though, and this is probably some people are going to be like, well, yeah, duh. Is do not put this phone. I don't know if it's like this with every model, but I have the Arctic Gray, and it has this very particular kind of feel to the whatever I can't remember what the material is, but the camera bump. It's gonna be really hard for me to show this. It's a really sharp camera bump. Do not put this phone in a pocket with another like glass display thing.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I did with an Anchor charging thing that has this glass readout, and just this morning I looked at the Anchor thing and I was like, whoa, what happened to the glass readout? It is just etched like crazy. And it's this thing because there's something about the
it's
kind
a
of
sharp edge.
It's pretty sharp edge, and it's got a little bit of like this like kind of almost like a knife-like texture to it.
You could probably open a bottle of beer with it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's the test.
Yeah.
That's the test. So anyways, be forewarned.
All right. So thumbs up on the battery.
Yeah.
Meh on the camera.
Performance excellent.
Performance excellence. Meh on the camera.
I mean,
not
cameras,
meh.
not meh, because I feel like meh is like negative.
Yeah, it's
I
not
thought
bad.
The camera is about as
just
good as you expect out of a OnePlus camera, which is always totally usable, but not necessarily consistent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Flo's 4-star rating? Is this phone a buy or is it a pass? If someone was looking for a phone,
I'd say it's still
curious
worth
too.
getting, especially if you really value battery life.
Yeah, totally.
all right.
It's a solid option if you value battery life. I mean, it's
right.
one of the better ones to get. $900. So it slightly
flagship-
undercuts flagships, but it's right up there now. It's pushing it.
For me, flagship is $899 to $1,000. It's in that window, right? It's right. $900 is not cheap. So,
Actually, we forgot to mention you can't even buy this right now in the U.S.
Good
That's
point.
true.
Yes,
Thank you for bringing that up. That is absolutely true.
That was the big gotcha on the day of the launch. The night before, we found out that due to the government shutdown and delays in governmental approvals, the phone is not available in the U.S. If you are interested in purchasing it, you go to oneplus.com and you can submit your information, and they'll contact you when it is available. That is just a temporary issue. That is no condemnation on the phone itself. That is no issue with OnePlus. That is no issue with the hardware itself. That is purely a governmental bureaucratic slowdown due to the shutdown, right? So just getting the paperwork.
Just be aware if you try to buy it right now, you're gonna have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, which I feel for OnePlus, because you got to imagine that they were like hoping like down to the wire that they'd get that email that everything's good to go, and they didn't get it, and so they still haven't gotten it. So knock on wood.
Yeah, so. I mean, I think it's a solid phone. I hadn't really considered the kind of sidestep that you mentioned, Mishaal. That's an important thing to point out. That's good. That's going to upset some people, but on its own, yeah. I think it's a very solid phone. I do want to spend more time with it and get more of a sense of some of the features, the mind space with the plus button. There is no alert slider, but you do have this AI button, which I think I've said on the show many times. OnePlus's kind of approach with mind space, I really like. I feel like it's really useful. It's nice when you're in the OS to just tap and hold and boom, it just jumps right into an audio recording. And that just means that when I'm out and about and I have this random idea, I can just hold that down and immediately get my voice recording, and it's sent off and it's going to get transcribed right away. That's really useful to me. I'm able to capture a lot of ideas that way, and I just love that. So, it's useful.
Overall, is it an improvement and upgrade over the OnePlus 14?
13?
OnePlus 13?
Yeah, they skipped the 14.
Let's not forget the 14. The 14 was a memorable phone.
Did they skip?
They skipped it.
They did skip 14.
I was starting to second guess. I was like, wait a minute.
It was funny because I was actually this morning I was running on my treadmill in the basement, and on my shelf in the basement I got my boxes of phones, and I saw the OnePlus 13, and I was like, oh yeah, they skipped the 14. This morning I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, because the 14 Chinese superstition, they skipped number 14.
The number 4, specifically. Yeah. Is the OnePlus 15 an improvement over the OnePlus 14 that actually doesn't exist? Yes, 100%.
Is it an improvement over the 13? Of course it is.
That's
right?
a harder question.
That's a harder question to answer.
13 was a good phone. 13 was a solid phone.
I like
Yeah.
the design of this phone more than I like the 13.
Yeah.
Same.
So there's that.
It's screaming.
So
at
my
you.
reaction is a thumbs up and a smiley face.
Smiley face or a scream? Because last week I said it's more of a scream, right?
Yeah, it's the emoji with the teeth.
The cat. So for audio listeners, if you look at the back camera system of the OnePlus, if you rotate the phone 90 degrees, it looks like it's either smiling. It's like a psychology test. Mishaal sees a smile. I see a scream. Jason, what do you see?
It's got a black eye. That much I know.
Yeah, he's winking. So, all right, cool. So OnePlus 15, thumbs up. Hopefully someday you can get it in the US. Jason, you've got another new phone for us to take a look at this week, right? It just came out.
Yeah, this one just came out. This is clearly on the other side of the price and the spectrum.
As
of,
there
of
should be.
smartphones.
We should not always talk about the flagships. The mid range and the low end need attention as well. So
Motorola is really good in the low end. I mean, they do a lot. They make a lot of movement in the low end, and they have the Moto G Play 2026. Oh yeah, that's right.
Audio listeners, that sound you heard was Jason's pocket knife opening as he is literally unboxing the Moto G Play 2026 phone. This is so wrapped in the tissue paper that we've known to come and love. In phones.
Yes, and there we go. There it is. Okay, so the Moto G 2026 Play. Moto G Play 2026. Sorry, I got that all backwards. $180. So this is the most affordable Motorola model to date. 6.7-inch display. Sorry, I'm trying to hold it in the right spot. 120 hertz refresh, HD resolution. Man, even at $180, you're getting 120 hertz refresh. That's kind of crazy these days. You got it so good if you're on the lower end. MediaTek Dimensity 6300, 5200 milliamp hour battery. Motorola says up to 2 days, but probably not in the same way that OnePlus said. Let's just be honest. Also, you've got a processor that's less commanding, less capable. So there's other reasons why this is probably going to do well on battery. 64 gigs of onboard storage. You do have a micro SD card slot somewhere, I think. I thought I saw that there was.
It might be a bundle with a SIM card slot.
Oh, I bet it is. Yeah, it's probably bundled in with that SIM card. RAM, this one hurts. I mean, no matter what price you're at, 4 gigs of RAM, it hurts.
That's rough.
That makes me kind of cringe.
That's where the cost
a little
savings come in, everybody. $180 right there.
Yeah, absolutely so. But it has that kind of texture that the last handful of lower to mid-range Motorola phones that I've used have. It's kind of pleather-like, kind of feels a little like, it has I don't know. It's hard to explain. Kind of rubbery, or I don't know. But 32 megapixel main rear camera, 8 megapixel front-facing camera. You got your Courage port, Android 16, 2 years updates. I don't know. What else you want to know? Oh, this does have circle to search. So it doesn't have a whole AI suite the way other Motorola phones do, but partially that's just because it has a lower tier processor. It has a low amount of RAM to process all that AI, but it will, have Gemini, of course, and it has circle to search. So they're kind of making a big deal of that. Even at $180, you've got access to circle to search. So there you go.
I mean, $180. I mean, it's not a bad phone. Like, it looks cool, and and for what is probably could be a starter phone for a teen or a senior citizen who needs a phone, or someone who just can't afford a flagship or is looking just needs a phone to get by in the day. It looks good. It looks at least mid-range, if not closer to high end. Like, it doesn't look like a cheap phone, right? It doesn't look like a burner, right? Yeah. It looks like a solid phone. I love what Motorola does in the mid-range and the low end. I really do, and I always have. So.
Oh, I love that it's sliding on the table.
Sliding on the table a little bit.
Look at it, it's moving.
Yeah. Come to me. Yes, it's okay. Over here.
That is not a phone you want to leave unattended on a table. But yeah, no. Onto your point, Ron. Yeah, it's surprising how much budget phones nowadays punch above their weight in terms of aesthetics. and like look and feel. Like, sure, once you actually start using the phone, you can clearly see where they cut corners in terms of like performance and RAM and things like that, and the display. But it still looks overall like a premium phone, and for most people, it'll run just fine.
Yeah.
It's only when you start really demanding it and like trying to run Genshin Impact or something on it where you'll clearly run into some problems.
If you're aware of the limitations, and if you're doing email, Instagram, web browsing, you know what I mean? Like if you're not doing anything really intensive, if you're a content creator, you're not using this phone. You know what I mean? If you're a high-end gamer, you're not using this phone. But like, guess what? That's the majority of users out there. They just need a phone for text messaging and for, taking pictures randomly and checking their email and oh my God, actually calling people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It doesn't have that hollow quality that some low-end devices have. It feels really sturdy. I'm sure this is a plastic frame, but it feels nice. It does a good job of pretending to be metal.
So going back to the
nice
movement
color
on the
too.
table,
Like
why was it sliding on the table?
Well, this table is definitely not level.
But that's the thing, is that like a non-level table, and when it's the phone is face down on its display.
Yeah.
There's not enough weight on the phone to keep it from sliding, and there's not enough friction on the display. That's why it kind of slides, right? So
yes, no, this is blame the table more than the display. It's a glass display. It's going to slide if it's imperfectly balanced.
Exactly. Yeah. It's almost like air hockey in that regard. So.
Yeah, we need to get some fans underneath this table.
Yeah, exactly.
So we can get some graceful.
The pucks, the red and blue air hockey pucks, and you can play it. Yeah.
That's what you can do with this phone. It's only $180. Turn it into an air hockey toy. All right, that's the Moto G Play 2026 from Motorola.
Very cool. And just a little bit, one little bit of Android, hardware news before we move on to apps, because we're all just the last phone of the year that we're all salivating for, that we're all waiting, is that Samsung Galaxy Z Trifold. We're just they're telling us it's going to be this year, and we're running out of weeks.
They keep saying it's gonna be, or someone does.
And we keep getting little trickles of information. We haven't been covering every little trickle of information because it just gets annoying at some point. But we thought we would. And Mishaal's nodding. I can tell he hates when we cover this phone. I love it. But Mishaal hates the Trifold. But this was I thought this was worth noting. The folks at Sam Mobile are reporting that the Galaxy Z Trifold it hit a key milestone ahead of its U.S. release, as they're reporting, and their sources are telling it that the Trifold phone, an unlocked variant, has started firmware testing for the U.S. release. Which is a major moment in terms of testing it, because so the right up to this point they've been testing firmware for a carrier locked variant of the device, but now they've confirmed that testing for the unlocked variant is underway as well. And so supposedly the phone is set to launch in less than a month. And the fact that they're testing firmware this close to the launch date is a little surprising. But maybe it's happening. I don't know. We'll see. But our eyes are going to keep it. Are going to keep our eyes on what's happening there. Maybe we'll get a little Christmas surprise, a little holiday surprise with the Samsung Trifold finally hitting the market.
I mean, if they're testing the firmware this late, I'm kind of worried that their announcement will just be announcing the device and not launching it until months later.
Yep. Or limiting the launch to specific countries, or limiting the launch to just carriers and not unlocked. I mean, who knows what might happen. So, yep. Anyway, we'll stay tuned. Obviously, they're not going to let us rest up until the end of the year, so we're going to stand by.
At this point, I'm firmly in the "I'll believe it when I see it" camp.
Well, we've seen a lot of it. We know it exists.
We know it exists.
Just waiting.
We know it's probably coming.
Yeah.
I will believe that it's actually coming this year when I finally see that it's coming this year.
Exactly.
It's just weird that it's like almost the end of the year. It's like, oh, we're going to have it by the end of the year. Why would you release something like this in December? Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
What is the strategy there? I don't get it.
I don't get it either. All right. Well, let's go to wrap it up for hardware. We're going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we got some app news and then your emails, because we love to hear from you. You don't write enough. Call. Okay. We'll be back after this. Okay. We're back. Well, guess what? It is November 18th as in the evening as we record this, and you're likely listening to this on the podcast on your commute on November 19th, which means that we are actually disturbingly close to the end of the year. And you always know it's close to the end of the year in the world of Android when Google Play rolls out the best apps of 2025, the best apps and games of 2025. And here they are. And this year, Google Play also expanded it to the best apps, books, and games of 2025, shoehorning books right there in the middle. Books is interesting. But so the winner of the overall app and game of 2025 is Focus Friend, which won best app, which have you heard of? I haven't heard of.
No.
It's an app that kind of it was made by a popular YouTuber. It kind of went
Right.
semi-viral,
Yeah.
mostly on iOS, but it's
Hank
basically like
Green. I know Hank Green, but I don't know.
it's like an inverse of a lot of those apps to try to get your attention. Like
Yeah.
it has like I think the idea behind the app is like you have this animated cartoon pal where if you open the app, then like the pal becomes sad. So like the less you're using your phone, the happier it is. I think it's like kind of like an inverse, kind of trying to get you to disconnect from your phone more. I think.
Yeah. So according to Google Play, they say in a world full of noise, how do you find your focus? This year, one app helped us all to disconnect in order to reconnect.
All
A
of
simple
us.
yet effective tool that helps you stay present. It's the essential, helpful, and cute app we all needed this year. Is it though? The best game of the year is Pokemon TCG Pocket, which
Pokemon is just
as
the
the
thing
father
that never
of a
goes away, isn't it?
as the father of a 6-year-old who has discovered Pokemon this year, I'm so delighted to see this one best, and I need to not let my son know this exists, or else I will never get my phone back. So,
I'm just so outside of the Pokemon thing. Like it is so just.
well, what's great about my son in Pokemon is that he loves the characters and he loves the world and he buys the cards and has no context of anything else. Like I was talking to another parent, I was like, "Does he know how the game works?" I'm like, "Nope." And like so, it's like I'm enjoying this like period of ignorance. You know?
Yes.
So
I would love to know like the demographics of people who are playing this game in particular, and nowadays collecting Pokemon. It's probably like a U shape where it's like a
Yeah.
whole bunch of kids, like
Yep.
not many people in their teens and like early 20s, and then like a huge increase
Totally,
for
you're
like
right.
30s and up.
agreed.
Yeah.
Yep. So very cool. So the best multi-device app and game went to Luminar, photo editor. A suite of AI-powered tools for photographers, which is always pretty cool. Nice creativity app is neat.
Well, I use Snapseed. Is Snapseed still around?
It must be still around.
Must be
You can
still
still
around.
use it. I don't think it's. I wouldn't describe it as still around though.
Yeah.
CapCut. It became CapCut.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
No, did it?
Wait, no, CapCut's
No.
separate.
No,
CapCut's
it
made by-
didn't.
Snapseed
No, it's so
is a complete and professional.
No, what's so
photo
funny
editor
is that
developed by Google.
CapCut bought the Google keyword for Snapseed. So if you search Snapseed, the sponsored results on Snapseed photo editor, and it's for CapCut.com. That's very funny. But Snapseed still exists. It's still there. It's
Okay.
a Google app. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's sneaky CapCut TikTok people. You're buying AdWords. Best multi-device game goes to Disney Speedstorm, which I've been meaning to play because I love racing games and I like Disney and all that stuff, but I just haven't had a chance to. But and it is kind of funny because I feel like Speedstorm has been at every Google Play little demo event that we've been to for the past year, and so like it's kind of fun. Like they clearly like this game. But so yeah. It's all in the Google. It's all over at the keyword Google blog. You can read the whole list. There's a whole list of more apps that won. Other categories. Best app for large screens, best app for cars, for XR headsets, for
Calm.
families, etc. A whole bunch of games
Interesting.
that went out there, and then they have a whole list of favorite books. No other movies or TV shows. They've done that in previous years, haven't they? But they didn't do that this year. So there you are. So if you're looking for new apps, check them out. But once again, another year of apps that won that I don't use any of these apps.
I was reading through this and I thought this said notification. And I was like, best notification of 2025.
Nonfiction.
Wow, they've really gone granular. But no, it's nonfiction. Yeah.
So there it is. Happy 2025. Thank you, Google Play.
Thank you, Google. Year
I
after
imagine
year,
some
that
super
those
mega
lists-
viral app comes out in like the next 3 weeks, immediately making this list outdated.
Yeah, yeah. All right,
All
tell us about the name drop competitor. Name drop is such a good name for what it is.
Yeah.
It's too bad that
So,
iOS got it.
My colleagues at Android Authority have discovered evidence that Google is working on a feature called Contact Exchange, and we believe it could be basically Android's version of the name drop feature on iOS. So for those of you who don't know, if you have two iPhones and you put them like top to top, then you can basically have this neat animation plays where like the contact transfers from one phone to the other. And the way it works is, the iPhones have their NFC antenna on the very top. So as you like put two phones together, and you have the contact showing on both phones, and it's able to play this animation where it looks like this contact is basically going through a tube and
It's like
transferring
this
to the other
bubble
phone.
thing. The first time I saw it, it freaked me out. I tried not to react. I tried to play it cool, but I was like, "What was that?" I was like,
Yeah. And it sounds like, from what we can tell, that Google might be working on a similar feature that allows you to transfer contacts using an NFC tap. However, it will likely in practice look very different just because of the fact that a lot of Android phones will not have their NFC antenna in the same spot. They won't be located at the very top.
Yep.
It's not something that Google can really control, unlike Apple, who can control where the NFC antenna is on all their phones. So I don't think there's any way for Google to actually build like a very similar kind of animation, but they could definitely still build a tap to transfer contact feature. Like that's still something they could do right now, where you tap two phones together and then you select what information to transfer. That's something they could definitely do. It's something that looks like they are doing.
Yeah. So as someone because at Scorebit we developed an NFC with a function within our app to, we developed a tap pad that goes on pinball machines, so you can, kind of tap into the game to like tell the game who you are, manage your identity. So I've been doing a lot of work with NFC and a lot of work with both iOS and Android and how they interact with NFC and like where the radio is located and all that sort of, and it's a freaking nightmare. And I will tell you that it is really, really interesting at how the difference between how iOS and Android handle NFC, in that iOS pretty much kneecaps that NFC radio to be extremely low power in background mode, but in foreground mode it boosts it and is able. And what that means is that like when you walk up to a payment terminal on Walgreens or whatever and put your phone on, and putting the phone on the device triggers the action, it's in background mode. So it's doing a very low power radio transmission to pick up the signal and then triggers the app. That's what's called background mode. And foreground mode is when you open up an app and you say, okay, scan this, and then it does it louder. Android, on the other hand, its background mode is much more powerful and much more louder, quote unquote, louder than iOS is. And so just in our testing, it's just been very, very hard to normalize the two. And we've gotten much better results on the Android side because of it. And, how we manage our app and how we do that, iOS has made us, have to hamstring or change things, whereas Android has been a lot more freer. So it's really, but the NFC radio placement is an issue also, because as you're educating users, you can't use the same instance because it does, generally the NFC is in the middle of the phone on Android versus the upper left or the upper right on the phone on iOS. So yeah.
Right.
So I've learned so much about NFC in the past 6 months. It's mind blowing. So yeah. And this NFC tags versus the other one is not a tag. It's I forgot what it is, but anyway, but how it all works, whether you're sending data or receiving data, and it's just, it's a reader versus a tag. And sometimes the phone is a reader, sometimes the phone is a tag, and sometimes the terminal is a tag or a reader. And it's a whole thing. So
sometimes I put two phones together in my pocket. And one of them will react like that. Like,
it'll beep.
Yeah, boop, it'll buzz and beep. Oh, apparently I'm doing something. Okay, and then finally, weather nerds out there, listen up. Google has announced the new Weather Next 2. This is created by DeepMind and Google Research. They are calling it the company's most advanced and efficient forecasting model. And so, where are you going to see this, the fruits of this appearing? Search, Gemini, Pixel Weather, yes. And soon it's apparently coming to Google Maps at some point as well. But Google says predictions delivered 8 times faster with an hourly resolution. So, the system, it's just better, quicker, more fine-tuned detail, can predict wind, speed, direction, precipitation, pressure, a whole bunch of other things. And Google says it can predict hundreds of possible weather outcomes from a single starting point, including low probability but catastrophic weather events. So, I mean, I'm not huge into weather detecting technology necessarily, but this all sounds good. Another thing that they're really excited about and really proud about is that it's able to better understand what they call joint events, or maybe the industry calls it joint events, where multiple weather events combine to a place where traditional systems have a hard time predicting what's actually going to happen, right? Because I can only imagine that it's easy if it's just a windstorm. This is probably a total noob analogy, but it's easy if it's a windstorm. But if it's a windstorm combined with a snow flurry combined with blah, 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 all those things have their own kind of impacts and elements. And this system apparently can take all of those things, combine them together, and have a better predictable outcome of what that actually means on the other side. That's my interpretation of this anyway. So there you go. Weather Next 2. Maybe you'll actually notice that your weather readouts in your apps are better. And if so, this is probably why.
Weather nerds love this stuff, let me tell you.
Oh yeah. Weather nerds.
And I mean, I'm like a amateur weather nerd. I'm very into being able to, because the kids are playing outside and stuff. I'm very into being able to predict when it's going to rain and looking at radar and all this sort of stuff, because I'm on an island and the way the storm systems go up the coast, and then when there's a nor'easter, are we going to get hit with a storm? And almost always the news freaks out and tells us it's going to be an awful storm, and then it always goes out to sea. It always goes out to east and misses us. But to see how AI can play into that and actually be more accurate, and the whole idea it's going to rain in 5 minutes and then it actually rains would be cool. So
yeah.
I'm a lazy weather nerd. Not lazy, but yeah. Anyway, cool.
I don't get too nerdy with my weather. I just open it and go, oh, okay. Or I look outside. Go, okay.
All right, well, that's some app news for you. And now's the time to hear from you, our audience. We love to hear from you guys when you email us at contact@androidfaithful.com. And just a reminder, you can email us, tell us your stories, your questions, your observations, your reactions. You could also, and not many people take advantage of this, you can send in videos and or audio clips, and we will play them if they are 30 seconds to a minute long. You don't need to just type. You can talk. We'd be happy to do the multimedia thing. We are a media podcast, and we can do that. But and we also love when you all write in and then you send follow-ups to let us know how the story ends or what the updates are. And that's our first email, which is fantastic, because Joey writes in and says, "Hey, Joey here again." And you might remember Joey, the guy with the many Pebble watches. Joey says, "I finally received my new Pebble in the mail. The newest one is on," he sent in a picture, by the way, which we'll show to our video viewers in a second. But he says, "The newest one is in the photo on the far left. I already installed my $60 leather strap and it will become my new non-work watch. Yes, I daily use 2 Pebbles, one for work and one that I use when work is done. As you can see, it's almost identical to the previous Pebble 2. The buttons are a bit harder to push and the watch itself is a tiny bit thicker, which I assume is some of the reason for the new watch's 30-day battery life. Otherwise, it's the same watch that was released 9 years ago. Yes, I'm middle-aged and completely opposed to change, so I couldn't be happier. Thanks again for all you guys do."
Oh wow! Look at the top one, the strap on that one. That's been.
And he sent in a photo of his lineup of Pebbles, and the new Pebble is there at the top. And it does look very identical to the previous ones. And it has been great. I mentioned earlier in the show, friend of the show, Tom Merritt from Daily Tech News Show, he got his Pebble watch, and I've been watching him play with it and put the Star Trek L-Cars, whatever I pronounce it. I never pronounce that right. Kind of watch face on it. It's great to see all the Pebble users getting their new Pebbles, because people love the Pebble.
So happy.
If you got a Pebble, write in and let us know at contact@androidfaithful.com.
It's a Pebble-sance, a renaissance for Pebble users.
Pebble-sance. So,
Pebble-sance.
All right, Jason, you got the next one.
Yes, indeed. There is no name here. Oh, okay, there is on the
Joseph.
Yeah, it's not on the dock. Hello, I have a question for you. In your opinion, what do you think about the Onanana 4K Pro replacing the Fire Stick 4K Max? I considered purchasing one, but I would like your opinion on this. Well, I cannot give you an opinion on the Fire Stick 4K Max because I've never had one, I've never tested one, I've never used one. But I can point you to, and by the way, which is the On 4K Pro that we're talking about. It's the one that you can usually find at Walmart. They've proudly put the wire cutter stamp on it because I think it's a good value buy. I did a full review of this on my YouTube channel a year ago. Yeah. And I think it's the same product, except now the assistant is replaced with Gemini. And so if you go to YouTube, do a search for Jason Howell, you can see a full review of the Onanana 4K Pro streamer. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty impressive considering you're spending right now. I think you're spending like $44 or something like that. It's an excellent value. You've got your 4K HDR, you've got your Atmos if your system supports it. 32 gigs of storage, customizable remote button, the remote with customizable buttons, Wi-Fi 6. It's got a built-in speaker. Like that's one of the big things, right? Is that it's a built-in kind of like Google Home smart speaker, and now with Gemini on it, that'll be interesting as well. So I don't know, it's good. I'd say the only thing to know about it, or a couple of things to know about it, is because it's a fabric outside, it looks really good when it's new, but over time it collects dust, and it's
it's dirty.
Yeah, you can't throw that into a washer. So
I mean, you could.
I mean, you could.
Nothing's going to stop you from doing it. We advise you not to, but
it would die.
So, yeah.
But and the only reason I bring that up is because I have seen this type of fabric casing on technology before in a situation where it was never cleaned. And when it's dirty, it gets fugly, like really ugly. So just be on top of that. And the processor's really old. Like, I think it was a few years old when I did this review a year ago, and now it's probably older than that. If it's still the Amlogic S905X4 chip, it's a pretty old chip, 3 gigs of RAM. So you might get some stuttery, choppy UI like I did a year ago. But if you're okay with that, like, yeah, it's pretty good. So there you go.
Yeah, I always say the 4K Pro is one of the best unkept secrets in home entertainment, for low cost entry into Google TV, kind of like easy access, easy to get from Walmart at a low cost.
You get a remote with it.
Yeah,
it's not just like
it's a good device. It's just a good device. Go for it. I said go for it.
Yeah.
At that price, you got nothing to lose.
Yeah, you will notice some choppiness though. That is something that you're almost guaranteed to experience, and that's kind of a bummer. But yeah. There you go. Right.
Well, those are the emails. If you got any questions, you can email us at contact@androidfaithful.com. We always love to hear from you. Please send them in. And that's going to wrap it up for this week's show. We thank you for listening the week before Thanksgiving. And we continue to be thankful for you. And I continue to be thankful for both you, Mishaal and Jason. Thank you so much for doing the show. Jason, where can folks, what's going on in Jason's world? What should folks be aware of from Microsoft and AI?
How did you know, Ron? We did, Jeff Jarvis and I did an interview with Charles Lamanna, who leads the Agent 365 team at Microsoft. And, that was news that would have been big today if Gemini 3 hadn't launched an hour before the embargo dropped. Anyways, I'm not jaded at all. But go check out the interview. We talked with him all about how agents are coming into the workplace, and it's really interesting to get a sense of the scene of what that looks like from, managing the enterprise layer when you're sitting in a meeting and a virtual meeting and you look over and there's an agent sitting in the meeting too. Like they actually appear there as if they're another person there. They are called out as AI, but anyways, it's weird. It's kind of sci-fi, and it's worth checking out if that interests you. Go to YouTube, search for AI Inside Show.
Excellent. And Mishaal, what are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for the opportunity to continue to be able to write about Android because there's always so much stuff to write about. So if you want to keep up with what's new in Android, follow me on whatever social media platform works best for you. You can find all the links on my Linktree page, or you can just follow my work directly on androidauthority.com.
All right, and Mishaal, we will miss you next week on next week's big Thanksgiving extravaganza here on Android Faithful.
Yep.
So we are thankful for you and all the fine work you do covering the world of Android, and we hope you have a
Indeed.
great Thanksgiving. But
Thanks.
Jason and I will be here next week, right? Along with Win, hopefully, knock on wood. Maybe Flo, we'll see. But yes, in the meantime, until then, you could go follow me on Threads. Go to threads.com or threads.net. I don't know. Threads.
Ron's a Threads fluencer
I'm
now.
on Threads at RonXO. I'm on social media. I've committed. I'm posting. I'm doing a lot of stuff. Having
doing
a
a
good
great
time.
job.
I've had a bunch of stuff take off on there. It's wild when things go into the tens of thousands of views and hundreds of likes. It's kind of new for me.
It's a fun little ride when that happens.
Yeah, it is. It is. But yeah, so if you go to threads.com/RonXO, give me a follow there and check it all out. I'm posting about movies, TV, music, technology, all the fun stuff there. No politics, just because I'm just not into it. It's just, there's enough. The politics people have enough covered over there. So, but yeah. So good stuff. Thanks for listening. We're thankful for you. Tune in next week. We'll be even more thankful. In fact, tune in right after this show if you were a patron for the Android Faithful After Hours. Well, we'll be talking about the news stories that didn't get picked in the Patron Pick, as well as we'll be talking more Android TV stuff. We've got 2 news stories that highlight about watching TV and Android stuff, as well as some new hardware from Fairphone. Some interesting stuff there. You don't want to miss it. And you can get that by going to patreon.com/AndroidFaithful immediately after the show publishes every Tuesday. And this show does come out every Tuesday. And you go to AndroidFaithful.com. You can find links to subscribe to it, as well as all the great writing that Flo does on the website and all the fun stuff. And we'll be back next week to give more thanks for Android. And until then, we're thankful for you, and we'll see you next week.
Okay.
I would just like to note, for those of you live stream viewers, you don't know this, but we have like a little time code thing in our rundown, and we effing nailed it this week. Like
Yeah,
we
we did.
literally ended
Right on
on
the
the
spot.
minute that we're supposed to end. Like
Heck yeah, we did.
Like the app section ran a little long because I was talking about apps in the beginning, and like I was a little worried, but we caught up, and like we ended literally on the minute we're supposed to end. It was perfect.
Nice.
So bravo, boys.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. We did not get very many titles tonight. We did not mention it, so that's our fault.
I posted it in the chat though.
All-
but yeah.
All Cousin of
90%
Jaw,
by Cousin of Jaw, of course.
except for the very top from Skull Me Dex. Android Grateful.
Android Grateful.
That's probably next week though.
I was gonna say
that's definitely a
please-
next week title.
Please bring that next week. Please,
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
remember to bring Android Grateful next week because I think that's great and we'll need the reminder.
Like I wouldn't describe Snapseed as still around.
Cousin of Jaw, what would we do without you? Like literally, what would we do without you? We would have one title. That's for next week. Gigantic Gemini news. Gemini is generating apps. Moto G Play Air Hockey Phone. 2 Pebbles. Sideloading saved. Steamed Android. Is the OnePlus 15 better than the 14? Ooh, I wouldn't describe Snapseed as still around. I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
I feel like we either got to go OnePlus 15 or Gemini.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the
Yeah.
idea of a title with Gemini and alliteration.
Yep.
The gigantic Gemini news?
Gigantic
Or Gemini is
news.
generating apps?
Gigantic Gemini news over generating apps, I think. Just because it's the
Yeah.
hyperbolic clickbait title.
Okay, that works.
Cool.
That works. Congratulations.
Yeah, we did OnePlus
Cousin of
15
Jaw.
last week, so with the
Okay,
screen
good.
and the thumbnail and everything. Yeah. So
Yep. Good. That works.
So that works. Yeah, last week was the OnePlus 15 screaming camera. So yeah. So
Screaming camera.
all right.
All right,
Good stuff.
folks.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. Mishaal, happy Thanksgiving.
Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving to y'all too.
All right.
Thank you.
Everybody, Jason and I will see you next week.
All right, everybody.
Adios.
Wizardling, you got to personally test the camera, that low-end Moto. Yeah, that's my plan.
Jason's going to impersonally test it.
Yeah, I'm gonna informally test it. I'm going to introduce myself as a person. And
You should give it to one of your kids and let them test it.
do your worst, kids.
Yeah.
What happens when you hand a phone to a kid and say, do your worst? What do you get on the other side of it? Find out next week.
There you go. Content, baby.
Yep. All right, everybody. Thank you for hanging out. We'll see y'all soon. Bye.
Bye.